Hello, I'm Peter Towers. Welcome to this edition of EOS's BIZTOOLS Accountants Minute podcast, issue number 370 of the Accountants Minute series is titled Deciding to Go. We hope accountancy firms will decide to go in 2024 to deliver business advisory services. Not just indicate that you are offering business advisory services. I really believe that the SME market is looking for accountants to proactively deliver business advisory services. Now, what might this mean for many of you is to reevaluate the work that's been done in your firm. I know that accountants, especially the ones I talk to, are telling me that everyone is very busy. But is there work being done that could be delegated to someone else in the organisation? And let's start at partner and senior manager level. What's on your desk that could be delegated to someone else in your organisation, who presumably will be on a lower charge-out rate? So why don't you delegate? And the same process I suggest you should be looking at throughout your firm, because there's plenty of other work, interesting and challenging work that your talent will appreciate and will want to be involved in. It's available to be undertaken within accountancy firms to service the aspirations of SME businesses who are wanting to scale up and develop bigger and better businesses, and who wish to survive, of course, in the current difficult economic conditions. And the conditions are made more difficult because of the problems around the world at present. The war in Ukraine, the war in Israel, the problems in the Red Sea, which are all affecting supply chains of products coming back into Australia or being exported from Australia. And we now have the uncertainty of an American presidential election, which I think as we get closer to November this year is going to cause some anxiety in many SMEs who are dealing with American consumers, customers. In the edition of Accountants Minute, we've looked at the giant awakening. I've specifically commented on the National Australia Bank Accounting and Financial Planning Report that was released a few months ago. This indicated that 85% of the accountancy firms that they surveyed, and they haven't disclosed how many firms they did survey, are offering business advisory services. Now, to be honest, I'm very surprised at that figure. 85% are offering business advisory services. But the base that they collected the data from may have been quite small. But I've commented on that by saying the real information that I would love the NAB Accounting and Financial Planning Report to cover in their next edition is how many are actually delivering business advisory services, and what is now the income mix in those firms. Is it getting closer to 50-50, or is it still up around 90/10, 90% tax and annual accounting type work and 10% advisory? It needs to be a lot closer to 50-50. And that probably implies that work needs to be delegated in firms and then perhaps outsourced. And the outsourcing industry has grown considerably over the last 15 years, and services are available to help accountants. So our first article is called The Giant Awakening, and I've led with the comments on the NAB Accounting and Financial Planning Report. But then I've offered recognition to the historical contributor to the growth in advisory services. You know, I've been around this industry long enough when advisory services, no one knew what it meant. And the people that started the recognition process was at the University of New England at Armidale, where the University Senate had enough courage and conviction 40 years ago to authorise the establishment of a special unit within that university called the Financial Management Research Centre. And it was headed by Dr. Jeff Meredith, who was the Chairman of the Financial Management Research Centre. And now Professor Meredith. And one of the key executives was Andrew Geddes, who many of you know as a well-respected and well-known accounting industry consultant and advisor, who also went on to become a very successful chair of an outstanding public company, Green Cross Limited. And Andrew was the chair of that company for 10 years. Incidentally, Andrew Geddes originally advised that company's CEO, Dr. Glenn Richards, 35 years ago, when Glenn Richards was in his final year of university for veterinary science. And he was part of a group of students from the University of Queensland and the University of Sydney that were assembled for some industry briefing, some knowledge about the commercial world. And Andrew Geddes was the presenter. And Andrew went on to become a long-term advisor and mentor to Glenn Richards. It's a great story, I think. And it's a story about contribution, but it also covers the range of services that accountants can be offering to their clients. Have you mentored and guided a client 35 years ago? Some of you are probably not old enough to have even thought about doing that in your careers. And then been able to follow the journey since into a listed public company, a company that achieved in the top 200 of the ASX before they were taken over by an American private capital company. So that's the very beginning that I like going back to, because I was one of those participants in those some of those courses over that period. And at ESS BizTools, we have tried to implement our strategies along the original guidelines that FMRC were proclaiming and introducing. We've carried it through, we've updated the course, we've brought a lot of other information in based on my experience, government grants in particular, corporate governance issues, board of directors, company secretaries' duties. I was a company secretary of a listed public company and saw the challenges that company secretaries had. But we have developed further our thoughts in ESS BizTools because we believe the accountant's role, the accountant in public practice's role, is to be the chief financial officer for an SME client. Not on a full-time basis. Most of your clients will not be able to afford that, and they wouldn't want it. And there probably wouldn't be enough challenging intellectual work for that person if they're qualified to undertake the duties of the chief financial officer. But part-time work, ideally suited for accountancy firms, to use the technology, to use the communication like what we're able to do with podcasts and videos to assist your clients, to participate in the board of advice and board of directors meetings, to ensure that your clients are on a 52-week of the year accounting cycle, because that's what businesses are on. Big businesses. Big businesses prepare weekly profit and loss reports. That's an estimate, and they get them very accurate, because I was involved in that process. 350-odd business units. We were receiving weekly reports that were all summarised for the local area directors or managers. And then by a Wednesday of the following week, they were tabled by me at lunchtime to the CEO. We had an interesting lunchtime meeting every Wednesday. Some days there was a few fiery comments getting made about various performances. And hopefully either myself or one of my team had already made the inquiries. Why had the gross profit percentage dropped? Why was the average sale higher? What was our inventory levels at various activities around Australia? Now, isn't that work that your team could coordinate, mightn't do all that, but would set up the systems for your clients to undertake, and then you monitor it? And then at the end of the month, the monthly financial accounts are prepared for each business unit, and they're compared back to the budgets. Oh, yes, I haven't mentioned budgets, but every one of your clients should have predictive accounting reports, budgets, cash flow forecasts, and projected balance sheets. And this is real accounting services. Years ago, she was a young lady then, sent me an email after I'd mentored the firm that she was part of in Mackay in North Queensland. And she sent me an email and said, thanks, I now understand why I studied commerce and I've become an accountant, because you have delivered to me the vision of offering real accounting services. And to you, my listeners today, I hope that we're trying to do the same thing, to present the challenge of deciding to go ahead. We can do that many feasibility studies, we can do that many other things, but accountants need to grasp this opportunity. Otherwise, other people, some of them very well qualified, are going to become the key advisors to SMEs. And in some respects, that's already occurring. This is a challenge for accountants and some bookkeepers to take up, to offer these services, so that we have complete business systems being delivered, budgets and cash flow forecasts that culminate in a monthly review meeting. I think we need to be talking to our clients far more about business advisory boards, putting together 2 or 3 external people, not best mates, 2 or 3 people who have got independent business experience. Not all accountants, not all lawyers, not all engineers, one of each. Examining the business performance, comparing it back to the business plan. And yes, there needs to be a business plan. So that's the key document for the budgets, cash flow forecasts and projected balance sheets. These are the challenges that are confronting our profession if we really want to contribute to help our clients survive. And our clients are under a lot of pressure at present. Unfortunately, I think we've got a government in Canberra that doesn't understand business, in particular SMEs. We're getting more and more regulations. Our clients need assistance because they feel as if they're out there at present, no one's helping them, no one's supporting them. They seem to be getting picked on. We all are, because we're all running businesses. So what can we do about it? Well, I think as accountants, we can transform our service offering to our clients. Sure, there's a need for a tax return, but that should be the end of the game, not the opening game. And some work possibly needs to be delegated or even outsourced. Please think about it. I think you should be looking at the charge out rates that your clients set, especially in tradies and various professional areas. Start it off just by looking at your own firm. And in ESS BIZTOOLS, we have packages for everything that I'm referring to, and that's covered in this edition of Accountant's Minute, which you can obtain by going to our website, www.essbiztools.com.au, and downloading it. The next item that I want to refer to today is research and development. Now, research and development is a massive undertaking for companies with turnovers under $20 million. According to the Oz industry figures, the value of the R&D tax offset for 22-23 has been estimated at $2.5 billion. That's a lot of money. And as that offset represents 43% of the eligible expenditure, my calculations are that the actual expenditure on R&D by companies under 20 million in turnover is $5.9 billion. Yet I talk to a lot of accountants and people tell me, no, we don't do R&D, no, we know nothing about it. Well, it's part of the Tax Act, so I think we all should know something about it. And a lot of small companies under 20 million turnover are undertaking it. And I read a report about a year ago from the Australian government-appointed Small Business and Family Business Ombudsman that indicated that the expenditure allocated to very small companies in that under 20 million turnover category was about 66% was the small businesses. That's a lot of money. But are you getting advice? Are you getting requests for advice from your clients? And if so, what's happening? Are you helping them on their R&D queries, or you're sending them someone else? Within ESS BIZTOOLS, we have tried to assist you on this challenge because we have produced a full product package on research and development. If you want more details, please contact me. This is an opportunity for you to be supplying outstanding services and helping your clients on the very beginning of the innovation journey. And the innovation journey can be quite exciting and interesting and challenging work for your talent to be involved in. And obviously we can assist you because we have developed product packages for all of these things, which help you to be able to deliver these services to your clients. Please think about it. There's some rumours or myths around that R&D is only for the big end of town. Well, there's a different system for the clients over $20 million turnover. And I know that some of you or many of you will have clients with that. And if they're doing R&D, there is a different system. And we have summarised it in this edition of Accountant's Minute, and obviously we do have product packages to cover that. And the third item I referred to in this edition of Accountant's Minute is SME companies can raise capital, but they need assistance from accountants. This is important. Raising capital using Section 708 of the Corporations Act has got various requirements. Some clients might understand that, but most don't. But then we move into the real interesting areas, the areas that were put in place particularly for small companies. And the first one is early stage innovation company. Now, this is targeted at companies that are under 3 years of age in the main, but there is a category for up to under 6 years of age. And primarily the income has to be under $200,000 in the previous 12 months. Not including a grant from the Accelerating Commercialisation Grant. And expenditure has to be under $1 million in the previous 12 months, although for the 6-year category, it can be an aggregate of $1 million in expenditure over 3 years, the last 3 years. So you need to look at that, and we've got all that in our system. Do you know I got a phone call in November last year from a businessman on the Sunshine Coast who told me that he talked to his own accountant about early stage innovation company, and he said he knew nothing about it. He then contacted another 15 accounting firms. They kept on saying, why don't you ring so-and-so or so-and-so and so-and-so. So he spoke to accountants in Queensland, New South Wales and Western Australia, who also told him they did not know anything about early stage innovation company. Hey, hang on, I said to him when he rang me. This is developed for small businesses. These are the bread and butter clients of accountancy firms. Yet he made 16 phone calls. One was his own accountant and then 15 others. Until he finally got referred to Dale Crosby, a great mate of mine who's the owner of the For Accountants website, which supplies great information on services that are available for accountants. And Dale said, ring Peter Towers. He'll know about it. So I've read some of his articles on the early stage innovation. So this is the challenge. Your clients need assistance. They need you to be aware, especially of things that are specifically targeted for small companies. Very small. Under $200,000 in turnover and under $1 million in expenditure. They're small, all right. But they're doing innovative work. They could end up being very big companies. But they need assistance, and they need assistance in the capital raising process. And the other one is crowdsource funding equity raising. Now, the limit's a bit bigger. The turnover there can be up to $25 million. And they need to work through a business that's been appointed by ASIC as a crowdsource funding intermediary. There's 16 or 18 of those. Bit hard to find out how many there are. 2 are dominating the market, Virtual and Equitize. There's a couple of others. I'd like to see the 16 or 18 of them flat out. Not just 2 and a bit flat out. Because after 5 years of service in this market, they've supported 380 companies. But in a publication released by Equitize last year, they indicated that they only seriously look at 5% of the people that approach them. 5%. And then only 70% of those actually raise capital. Now, it's the 5% that I'm particularly concerned about. Why? Does this mean that these companies got no advice from accountants and went off and did it all themselves? Or just didn't ask anyone for advice and went off? I hope they didn't go to accountants. I really hope they didn't. The 95% that missed out. But I think that's disgusting. 95% missed out. I think that's a tremendous challenge to accountants. We're the key advisors to SMEs. We tell everyone that. Yet here we are deserting. I think there's 10,400. If you do the sums, and in one of our articles, they're there. 10,400 companies over that 5 years missed out. Now, I know some of them would have been unsatisfactory applications, but not 10,400, not all of them. Perhaps another 1,000 companies could have raised some capital. Now, $289 million has been raised in that 5-year period, and it is going up, even after all the challenges. I think it could have been $450 million if we as accountants have got our act together and helped these companies. That's the challenge. And I hope you're going to decide to go. Decide to go and implement real strategies to really supply advisory services. Not talk about it. Not tick a box in a survey by a bank or someone else that you're offering it. Offering means you just got something on your website. Delivering means you're running webinars. You're putting promotions out. You're ringing clients and talking to them about it. You're having cups of coffee or cups of glasses of wine or whatever you want to have to go through the process and really convince your client that you know what you're talking about and you can deliver. If you need any information on ESS BizTools, please contact me. My phone number, 1800 232 088. Give us a ring, please. Or send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, and we can set up a complimentary Zoom meeting for about 30 to 40 minutes. We'll go through and give you an overview. Or you can visit our website, of course, www.essbiztools.com.au, and that's where you'll find this edition of Accountants Minute. Stay safe, have a great day, and I really hope that your firm is going to decide to go now on the proper delivery of advisory services to SME clients all over Australia. And you will find that your talent in your firm is very, very happy with that decision, because they will have interesting and challenging work. And your firm will have diversified clients who will grow with you as they go through the challenges of running businesses in 2024. Thanks for listening.